Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my latest books I've unhauled lately. So this is a very chilled video. I am camped out on my floor, my hair is far too floofy, I did not know what to do. But it's come to the time again where I filled a page in my notebook of books I'm unhauling. So when that happens, I sit down, I bring you a video of the books that I have unhauled and the ones that are still technically in my possession. As always, if I hold up a book, please do get in touch if you are interested in it. I would love to spread these books through the bookish community. Apologies though, that will only be the UK, just because of how expensive international postage is. But if you would like one of these books and you do not mind paying for postage, then please do let me know. I'm going to go in the order I unhauled them. It makes more sense to me. I've got the notes, but yeah, let's just get into it. The first one I have here is Extraordinary Means by Robin Schneider. I'm unhauling this because I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was good, but I don't think I'm ever going to read it again. This is about Lane, who goes to a boarding school called Latham House, which is for kids with a drug-resistant strain of, I don't remember. Okay, so maybe I'm not finding this as memorable as I thought as well. But yeah, I knew I was never going to reread this, so decided to stick it in the unhaul pile. Another book I read then was How to Break a Boy by Laurie DeVore. I really wanted to sell this because it's like perfect condition and absolutely gorgeous. So please do let me know if you're interested, because like who wouldn't want to own this book? But I gave it 2 stars, so I wasn't massively impressed. This is just a YA contemporary. It's very typical. It's a girl trying to get out of the popular crowd and the way she goes about that. A lot of teasing, a lot of unnecessary drama, but maybe I just wasn't in the headspace. Maybe I've outgrown it. Maybe someone out there will like it. Maybe it's on someone's wish list and they're looking for it, but yeah. I didn't need to keep this around, no matter how gorgeous it is, like, I'm not going to read it again. Then I unhauled a book that I read and didn't like, and BookTube, half of BookTube hates me for it, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So yeah, I have no shame. I had a nice edition of this and somebody on eBay wanted to buy it for slightly more than the price of a normal hardback, so I was fine with it. It's left my possession. The Night Circus was something I was really interested in reading, and sadly it just didn't hit all of the expectations I had for it. I didn't love it. I thought it was a bit boring. So I unhauled it, and we'll stop there so that the BookTube attacks don't start. Next I have Everything is Lies by Helen Callahan. I can't tell you much about this book apart from the fact that I read about 3 pages and decided it wasn't my cup of tea, so unhauled it. And I believe somebody on Facebook bought it from me for like £1, so you know, it's gone, and hopefully someone else gets more enjoyment. I also had All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. This was a book that I've had on my shelves for literally years, and I saw the audiobook on Libby, so I decided to read the audiobook alongside the physical book. And Jesus Christ, I could not tell you a single thing that happened. I still don't know what that story's about, and I read the whole thing. So it was right to unhaul it. Next, I got rid of my gorgeous edition of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Other Stories by Lewis Carroll. This was the Barnes & Noble leather-bound edition. And because I didn't love Alice in Wonderland, it was taking up space. I wasn't going to reach for it. I gave it to Laura. So I really hope Laura appreciated that little gift. I wasn't appreciating it for the gorgeousness that it was, so Laura took it off my hands. Similarly, I got rid of my Barnes & Noble leather-bound edition of The Wizard of Oz by Al Frank Baum. I read all the stories in there, but I just wasn't appreciating it. So Rhiannon, I hope you appreciated it more than I can. Next, we have a book that I bought in a charity shop and I just have no interest in reading, and that is The Boy Who Loved Anne Frank by Ellen Feldman. The only reason I picked this up is me and Cole had a conversation about Anne Frank, and then I stepped into the charity shop and I saw this book instantly, so I thought it's a sign, I must read it. I didn't look into it at all while I purchased it, and then I sat and did a try a chapter tag, read the first page and thought this writing style is not for me, I'm not going to enjoy it, so it's gotta go. Next, we have a book that was actually in a box of stories box that I got, and again I did a try a chapter tag and it's just not my thing. That is In the Dark by Andreas Pfluger. There is more than likely nothing wrong with this book. but quite a lot of it is like police kind of talk, especially at the start. So the bit that I read for the try a chapter tag, I just wasn't interested at all. It's quite a chunker, so it didn't need to be taking up space. And yeah, this is, she lives in a world full of shadows. How can she bring a killer to light? And we have the braille over the words, which is really cool. But after reading a couple of pages, it just isn't my cup of tea. I don't do crime stuff. Next, I have Snow White and the Huntsman. I think it was multiple authors. Cannot remember the main one, but it was multiple authors. I don't know all of their names. This was the book of the film, and thank you, Emily, to passing it my way because you thought I might enjoy it after you read it, but sadly I did not enjoy it. So this was one where it was the book of the movie, so it was very, very short, because obviously when they normally write a book and then it goes to the movie, a lot of stuff is cropped out. This had everything from the movie, which meant that some emotions just didn't seem to be there. I mean, Kristen Stewart acted, so would we have got the emotions anyway? But yeah, it just wasn't, nothing had foundation. The stories happened too quickly. I just couldn't get behind this one. I gave it 2 stars. Then we have Then He Ate My Boy Entrancers by Louise Renison, which is book number 6 in the Georgia Nicholson series. If you've watched any of these Unhaul videos before in the past, you know that Georgia Nicholson is going to feature. So book number 6, I have already unhauled. It is gone, but this was carrying on with the Georgia Nicholson series, which is about Georgia and the Ace Gang as they navigate being teenagers. I bought all 10 books. I'm not enjoying them, but I'm being stubborn and reading them all, so that one has gone from my life. Next, we have a book I was really excited for, but it's just not something I need to keep around, and that is The Story of Babushka by Catherine Flores. This is a gorgeous children's book. Like, it's so pretty. All the illustrations are so nice. But I don't need to read it again. I read it for Bookoplathon, which was great because it's very, very short, but it's just not something I need to keep around. So I would really be happy to pass this over to any of my bookish friends with kids particularly. I feel like it would be much more worthwhile than me reading it. Next, we have one that I was pretty sure I was going to unhaul when I started reading it, and that is Midnight by Jacqueline Wilson. So if you aren't aware, I purchased quite a lot of the Jacqueline Wilson books and I'm reading them one by one from my childhood. Midnight turned out not to be a favourite, so I remember not loving this as a child, and it's such a shame because it's this great like hardback edition of it. But this is about a girl called Violet who likes little fairies, and I just didn't like it. I should probably say it's very early in the morning when I'm filming this. That's why my voice is a bit gravelly and why I look so tired, because I've not long woken up. Next, we have The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. This was our Sisters Approximately book club pick, and it was fine. It really was fine. It's just not going to be something I read again. This is about a woman who goes back to a town where she went to boarding school for a very brief period of time because one of her friends needs help that she hasn't seen in however many years. It was fine. On my ratings of Ruth Ware, with The Woman in Cabin 10 being 0 and The Turn of the Key being 10, this is a solid 6. So it's not the worst thing I've ever read, but I'm never going to reach for it again, and it is quite chunky. Then we had Ted Bundy, Conversations with a Killer by Stephen G. McCloud and Hugh Ainsworth, I want to say. This is the transcript of interviews with Ted Bundy about him being on death row and the crimes he committed. I did enjoy this one. It was a very weird one to rate because in terms of an actual book, I didn't find it too enjoyable, but the fact that somebody sat down and spoke to Ted Bundy is like a 10 out of 5 stars. I did already pass this one over to Molly because they said they were interested, so I decided to pass on the love because I wasn't going to reread it. I haven't watched the Netflix show yet. I did start watching an episode, and maybe that's more my route with this one, but I did really appreciate the work that went into this book. I just wasn't going to read it again. Then we had Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. I really had to think then. This was one I was going to reread at some point. I read it as a teenager and thought one day I will read it again. But then I was on a live show with Rebecca and Vanessa and just decided that it's not going to happen. It doesn't need to happen because it's just not the most correct way of speaking about many things and situations that maybe I didn't notice as a teenager, but now I read the first page again and was cringing. It was horrible. I do not think that book has aged very well. Somebody bought it from me though, so I hope they enjoy it, but it doesn't hold up to the test of time. Then we had Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell, which is a twisted tale of Peter Pan. A lot will have to happen for this not to be in my worst books of 2021. I really didn't like it. The pacing was weird, the plot was weird, it was far too big. Yeah, that's already gone from my life. Then we have the next Georgia Nicholson book. We have Startled by His Fairy Shorts, which is number 7. Again, I've been reading them all, not enjoying them. I think that one was actually a 1 star, not anything. Mostly they get 1.5, potentially a 2. This was a 1. It was my least favourite so far. Then I had 13 Treasures by Michelle Harrison, which is a middle grade fantasy book. Somebody was interested in this straight away, so I passed it on. I'm very happy that they were. I do feel like it's a really good book. I just read it far too late in my life. I wish I would have read it as a child. It explains the fae, fairies, seelie, unseelie court in a way that I didn't have. So going into YA fairy stories, I didn't really get it. So I feel like it would be very beneficial to read as a younger audience, but I just couldn't appreciate it. So I read it and it's gone. I do have the sequel and we will see when I get round to that. Next we have You by Joanna Briscoe. This is a book I've had for such a long time and all I knew was that it's about Cecilia who's obsessed with her English teacher, Miss Dahl. I read it in a try a chapter tag video and I just did not care for the writing style whatsoever. I probably would enjoy the story, but to do that I've got to get through the writing and I was not a fan. Right, just 3 more. The first one I have to talk about is Double Act by Jacqueline Wilson. I'm going to throw it everywhere. So as I said, I'm working my way through the Jacqueline Wilsons and this one I gave 3 stars. It was absolutely fine. I'm just never going to reach for it again. It's pretty beat up, but yeah, I just hope that it can go to a more loving home because I'm not going to reach for it again. On a similar note, we have Glub Slime. I did say in my wrap up that I was going to keep this one and I'm just not. This is again another 3 star about a girl who finds a magical toad called Glub Slime. And it was such a cute time. It was very magical. It was lovely. But when am I ever going to read lovely and magical again? I'm not. Again, very short, slightly bad condition because it's from like the 80s, but it's just not going to happen again. And finally, we have Love is a Many-Trousered Thing, which is book number 8 in the Georgia Nicholson series, and the only one I'm holding on to right now. I do have 9 and 10 up on my shelf. I can't seem to point, they're about there. And yeah, I only finished this one a week or so ago, so that's why it has not left my house yet. I don't know whether the same people will be interested in it. This one actually got a 2 star from me. It was quite enjoyable, but I'm not going to keep the 8th book in a series and I don't keep 2-star reads anyway, so it's going. There we go. Those are the 23 books I've unhauled lately. I hope you enjoy these videos. I do love putting them out in chunks just when I have unhauled a set of books. I don't like holding on to them for too long, so this box sits in my kitchen. It's always in the way. So I feel like doing constant unhauls is gonna keep that down because otherwise I don't know where I would put this big stack of books if I kept building them up. I'm gonna stop talking. I need a cup of tea. I'm sorry if my voice has sounded this gravelly the whole time. Maybe this is what I sound like first thing in the morning. But on that note, I'm going to stop talking. As I said, please do let me know if you're interested in any of these books. If you want to leave a comment, or my Twitter is linked in the description, so drop me a message. I would love to hear from you. But there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one.